There are 3 steps to AI success in selling new construction. Watch and learn.
Build your dream today. We show you the way. Luxury leads come to play. New homes here to stay. Marketing's our game. Elevate your name. Reach for the fame. Never just the same. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets to luxury gains. Digital wave we ride. Strategies we provide. No need to hide. Success is on your side. Close deals like a pro. Watch your profits grow. High standards we show. Feel that golden glow. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets for luxury gains. Digital wave we ride. Strategies we provide. No need to hide. Success is on your side. Close deals like a pro. Watch your profits grow. High standards we show. Feel that golden glow. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets for luxury gains.
So welcome everybody to today's tune-up. It is January 21st. All right, so if you guys have questions, this is going to be a straight shooting. We're going to go through the content. If you have questions, you need help with new construction, luxury new construction, anything marketing, real estate, AI, join us next week, the 27th of January at 6 p.m. We have our monthly AMA coaching session. This is an absolutely free coaching session for you to come, ask questions, just hop on. There's one rule, you got to be on camera because we want to talk to people, not name tags. Outside of that, come ask questions. We're here to help you. This is your opportunity to get access to Nate, myself, and other agents and other experts in the community to help each other out. So that's next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Also, we're coming up on the application open next week. There's the 6-week new construction buyer traction accelerator. Hop on the waiting list. And the reason you want to hop on the waiting list is because we're actually in week 4 now, which is follow-up. But you're not just waiting on the waiting list. The waiting list, we're giving you the new construction buyer traction blueprint, the exact process that has helped agents just like you collectively sell over $500 million in new construction and luxury new construction real estate additionally since 2020. So we've got the receipts. We've got clients that have been going through this process for the last 5 years, 6 years now, because it's 2026, and over $500 million in sales since 2020. We're giving you the game here. Now, the 6-week accelerator is a training and 6 weeks access and coaching with myself and Nate. So you're going to learn how new construction actually works in today's market. One of the challenges agents have is what used to work or what was working all of a sudden stopped. And it's just weird. I hear that. That's the overwhelming comment that I hear from agents. Like, this is just weird. This has always worked. And it stopped working. Like, what's going on? Part of the reason is the training that traditionally and classically trained agents have worked, but they weren't trained and taught on how to attract new construction buyers, or it's more of a you go chase instead of being hunted. we're going to show you how to be hunted by people that want to buy new construction. If you don't have buyers or a sphere or pipeline that can purchase or is willing to purchase, or if they're waiting on the sideline, you help them when you can. But you have to know how to attract new construction, luxury new construction buyers while you're helping your pipeline and sphere, and they can sit on the sidelines or you can pull them over. Because with new construction, there's actually ways you can pull them over. We'll discuss those as well. Close to half of the inventory is not even in the MLS. So if that's the only source that you're going to, you're missing half of the inventory. We show you how to find that in the free training as well as the accelerator. So go to the iconic.com/waiting list. We'll walk through. As soon as you sign up, you're going to get access to the first 3 weeks, that you've missed so far. Simple, quick lessons you can run through, get an idea of the process. We go in depth, hands-on, soup to nuts, no stone left unturned, and the accelerator. Now, here's the caveat. If you're not a producing agent, you probably don't want to join. If you're not willing to commit the time it's going to take and show up, it's probably not a good fit. If you're looking for a Hail Mary, it's not a good fit. You can join, get the free training, but this is application only. So there will be applications. We will review the applications. And if you're a good fit, we will extend an offer to you. That is how this process is going to work, because we want to pick agents that are doing things, that have the desire and the ability to commit to doing this, so that we can add them on to those agents that have become top producers and sold millions of dollars in real estate in 2026. So we are handpicking folks. This is application only, but even if you're not chosen, the waiting list is for you, because we're going to continually give you valuable information. And you can always join the AMAs and tune-ups as well. So recap of what we covered so far in this series. We've discovered finding hidden new construction, building relationships with on-site sales staff, which is super important. Building your own private off-market new construction database, because as I mentioned, half the new construction and pre-construction isn't in the MLS. So you never have access to it, and your clients don't have access to it until you know where to find that. Finding new construction buyer demand and how to leverage it. Also implementing and finding migration data and leveraging that migration data to bring out-of-state buyers, sell the new construction and luxury new construction, how to choose the most profitable communities to promote, and how lead generation follow-up work hand in hand for success. It's not an either or. Nate, did I miss anything here, or did I about cover that? Or we got anything to add to that?
No, that's everything so far.
Okay, cool. So we'll dive right in. Today, we're discussing 3 steps to AI success with new construction, and then tactical steps that you can apply when you lead. So we'll go ahead and start off. So when you're beginning to use AI, there are 3 very important things that you have to identify up front. Number 1, who are you talking to? You are not talking to everyone. Who is your ideal client? You got to be able to identify that. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And we go really, really deep into that in the accelerator. And we will go into that in the accelerator. Number 2, what type of content are you looking to create, or what are you looking to do? Not just content, but what is your goal here? Are you creating video, text? Are you going to create audio, image? Are you going to use it for ads? Are you going to use it to make processes simpler? You got to figure out what you're going to do with it. And then number 3, you want to train the brain. And the brain, AI, you want to make sure that you train it so that incrementally it gets to know what you're looking for more often, and it gives you better results. If you're just putting in, write this email, give me this, give me that, it's not learning you. You need to really give it meat. So when you give it your ideal client, now the content that comes out and the frameworks that come out are going to be related to your ideal client. So when you put the content out there, it's going to resonate with your ideal client. So speaking of which, the ideal client. So one thing you want to identify is what makes them special? What are the special characteristics of your ideal client? What types of real estate does your ideal client purchase? What price points are they purchasing in? So Nate, let's walk through, because we've gone really deep in this, and actually know we've done some exercises with the ideal client persona. So what are some basics of the ideal client and how you leverage that, and you're pulling together? So what do you look for, or what are you trying to pull out to gather your ideal client data to leverage for AI,
Yeah, well, that's
for
the
content?
first step for me is usually uh, identifying any gaps in whatever that avatar is, that ideal client is, that I might not be aware of or I might be missing. So taking content from the developer and then saying, hey, ChatGPT or whatever, how do I identify the ideal person for this development, right? And I know we sort of go down the rabbit hole in this, in the insider or in the accelerator, but just being able to get clarity on taking the conversation that I have with an on-site agent about who's buying there and whatever materials they give me, I know from those materials in that conversation what the ideal buyer is for there. But the next step is, and this is where the AI becomes powerful, obviously, is taking that information and telling AI in the right way, hey, look at all of this and tell me who I should be talking to, who is most likely to buy in this community, and what I should be saying to them.
To consider, you just mentioned, what's the property that they're going to purchase, or what types of property. Nate loves pre-construction condos, luxury condos. Well, if you're a single family person, well, there's a different ideal client for single family. If you're an investor, if you do a new construction for investments, that's a whole different person. So you got to identify that first. Then we go to content, and there's more than two, but the two types of content that we like to look at are attention-based content and visibility-based content. One of them's to get attention and get them to, hey, give me a call. One of them is just to show your expertise. So you've got videos, you've got live stream, you've got short form content, you've got long form content, you've got entertainment, you've got information, education, and guiding content. You've got text content, you've got press releases, blogs, article, social posts, short and long form posts for social media. Then there's ads. You have social media ads, you have print ads, you have Google ads. All of these will have to be determined up front in order to get the output that you're looking for. So you have the ideal client, what type of content you're looking for, and then it comes down to the brain. So what you want to do is you build out your ideal client, tell the ideal client story. What's the price point they're looking at? What are their interests? What makes them tick, etc. Save that into a document, and when you start your AI chats, upload that. This is my ideal client. You can actually use AI to ask those questions. Come up with a document so it fits. Take your knowledge plus what it'll give you. Save that. Now, in that chat, all of the commands that you give it, all of the prompts should be, you should tell it should be based off of this ideal client. So now that you have this ideal client, the other thing you want to do is, if you have done any types of speaking, any videos, any emails you've written, any articles you've written, take that transcription, upload it to your favorite AI tool, and say, analyze this piece of content or these pieces of content and create a voice and tone document for me. Now, it'll tell you what your voice and tone is. You give it your ideal client persona, you give it your voice and tone. That is the brain. Then if you want to feed it some websites like your website, maybe your broker website, to get some information from there, that's the brain. Now all of your output, if this is content, it will be based off of your output, your voice and tone, your ideal client. You're going to get way more powerful responses from AI So let's use an example. So if we're going to do the Ritz Carlton in where's the Ritz, Nate? Is it Fort Lauderdale,
Miami
Pompano?
Beach.
Let's do the
Yeah.
Waldorf. We'll do the Waldorf in Pompano. So we take the Waldorf in Pompano Beach. You build out the ideal client avatar, ideal client persona um, for the Waldorf in Pompano Beach. Then you take your voice and tone. Then you take the Waldorf's information, brochure, website, upload it. Now create me content based on in my voice and tone, based on this avatar about this piece of property. It comes out. Now you're getting way more aligned with that avatar because, or that persona. And I keep saying persona and avatar. I have to collect this because I'm an OG marketer. We used to call these avatars people that throws them off. It's actually your ideal client persona. So if you hear me say avatar, it's also ideal client persona. At the end of the day, it's your ideal client. So don't let the words confuse you because that's been confusing folks. So if I slip and say avatar, I mean the ideal client. We'll just say ideal client. All of that information in one, you get way better output than anything else than just a prompt alone. So when you layer on a good prompt on top of the brain, you're going to get crazy good new construction, luxury new construction content that you can use to sell more new construction. So that's a high level. Now we'll get a little tactical here. So, and give you some specific ideas of how to leverage this. So, Nate, so we talked about the quick ideal client. One of the things you can do is just actually, Nate, we had a conversation on this earlier. So tell them how you reverse engineer this 3-step process, and then we'll walk through the ways that you've used it.
Yeah, yeah. So the 3 steps that I like to sort of focus on is who am I talking to? What am I saying about that particular development to the person that I'm talking to? And then what else should I say? So identifying who that avatar is that ideally matches the development. Then when I know who the person is that would ideally like this development, I start talking about the development. So floor plans, amenities, et cetera, et cetera. Well, how should I talk about these this development to that avatar? Specific, what should I say? What should I highlight? Because that tells me what's important to that avatar. Then I layer on top of that, well, let's learn a little bit more about the developer. Now, what should I include about the developer in the messaging to the avatar about the property, right? So you're telling this person, hey, Mr. Buyer, here's why the Waldorf is an amazing opportunity for you. So you're already speaking to an avatar that is interested in a property in Pompano Beach that is in line with the Waldorf, right? So now I'm speaking to this person about a property that I know they would like. The next layer there is, well, I got them. I'm having a meaningful conversation with them. What else can I tell them about who's building this property that will be more engaging to them? Right? What can I tell them about other properties they built? For example, if you're talking to someone who's moving down from the Northeast and this particular developer has built, 2 or 3 buildings around Central Park in New York. So now that person is familiar, understands that this developer is familiar with New York luxury as it relates to South Florida luxury, because that's very often a thing. There are very often a lot of big differences in interior designs in New York as opposed to South Florida. You see a lot more crown molding, and there's a lot more traditional Mediterranean stuff if you're looking in a lot of that Manhattan area, as opposed to a lot of the clean lines and ultra modern in South Florida. So the developers that are building those things that want to appeal to both of those tastes, they have familiarity with building in both places, which is something that is important to me when I'm talking to someone who's moving from or who lives in Manhattan and is looking to buy a second, third, fourth, whatever residence here in Pompano. And there are a lot of pieces to that that I might not pick up on just in my reading of the material, using the AI to speak specifically to, oh, this is how you connect this Park Avenue penthouse to this 3 bedroom at the Waldorf. That's a very, very key piece to that. So you're talking about who you're talking to, what you're saying, and then how you're saying what you're saying.
Onto that, one of the things, once you have your ideal client, this is why this is so powerful. And we did a tune-up on this where we kind of walk through like the questions you need to ask and things you need to find out about your ideal client. But when you take your ideal client, in regards to what Nate just said, comparing, you have your ideal client and you have their website, and you simply say, based on my ideal client, what questions would they have about this project? See what questions pop up. Now you're armed with questions, potential objections, or even content ideas that you can leverage. And then once you have your ideal client and you're working on a project, one simple thing you can do is actually, I have an example here. This background is actually, this was my backyard in Tampa. It's actually around the corner from my backyard, but this is a model home from some townhomes. I focus on townhomes because I've lived in townhomes for the last, since we sold the house. Travel a lot. We like to lock and leave. Condos are way more expensive than I want to spend. I like the space. You know, we've got baby adults. That's what we call them now. We got baby adults that come back home, so it just makes sense for condos. So we had a Tampa condo, we had an Atlanta condo, and I'm sorry, townhome. We had a Tampa townhome and an Atlanta townhome. Anyway, I did an interview. It was a Zoom with an on-site rep. This is the model center. This is the main model that they're actually selling it. I'm trying to get that sold for them. But doing floor plan video. So I have my ideal client. I take the floor plans and I say, give me a script to do a floor plan video. And I walk through that. I also, because I know my ideal client avatar and this project, I said, I need some interview questions. Just did a 30-minute interview with the on-site rep. It gave me an interview based on what my ideal client would question or have objections to or want to know about. So once you know who your ideal client is, you can leverage that to ask questions. You can also say, things like, go search the internet and find out the gaps in content that aren't being covered. You can create content around there. There's a whole lot you can do once you have your AI brain, your voice and tone, and your ideal client in your AI tool that you can now use. And there's a whole lot you can do. I'm not going to go like deep into it because we don't have that much time. But once you have that, so live streams, you can do live streams, pull out content scripts for live streams, do floor plan videos, interview questions. We do a lot of interview questions. Nate, what else do you use for this process? Because we use this. This is pretty much the foundation of everything you should do when you're marketing new construction or real estate in general, is have those three things. You have your voice and tone, your ideal client, and then the types of content you want to create. But let's just blast out some ideas that they can leverage with this structure and things that we actually do too. So I just mentioned the floor plans, doing weekly webinar live streams, putting the layouts for that. Of course, there's video content and scripts. What else we got?
Yeah, well, but before we touch on more, I want to overemphasize something here. The AI is not here to give you things that you should just repeat word for word. That is not,
yes, absolutely.
That's not what this is. All right. So don't put yourself in a mindset that, oh, the AI is just going to do the work for me. If that was true, then people don't need real estate agents anymore. That's not the case. What is happening here is the AI is doing some of the heavy lifting for you. It's doing some of the pattern recognition for you. It might even be doing some of the research for you, but it's still your job as the real estate expert to take that information that the AI gives you and one, fact check it, but two, make it your own. If you're speaking to someone who loves seafood restaurants and cigar bars, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you get back that talks about date nights and places to do play dates with kids, you have to make sure you're taking out the stuff that's not relevant to them. You're leaning into the stuff that is relevant to them, and you're speaking to those things. AI is a machine. It's a computer. It's going to give you back what you ask. And as you learn to ask better questions, then it'll give you better answers. And those answers over time can become closer and closer to what you would say. So to Damon's point, as you learn, as the brain, so to speak, learns more about you, as it interacts more with you, as it understands your voice and tone, then it's going to give you better and better answers. It's a learning machine, but you are the value, not the AI. So use it as a tool that helps you to compress time when it comes to researching and doing stuff like that. And then you still have to take the time to go through these scripts. You have to take the time to make sure that the floor plan that you uploaded or that is analyzing is the floor plan that is describing in whatever scripts you have. So you're not talking about a 3,500 square foot 3-bedroom and you're in the script for a 2,500 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. It's your job to make sure that in AI, they call it hallucinating. You want to make sure that the AI is not hallucinating and giving you other things, right? So creating lifestyle content is a really good one. Another very specific way you can use AI after you've created all this content is to ask that AI based on research, which platforms should you be sharing this information on? Are your buyers more likely to be on TikTok, or are they more likely to be looking on LinkedIn? Are they more likely to be on Instagram, or are they more likely to be on Facebook? What type of content should you be sharing in those places?
That's actually something that you can, as you're doing your ideal client avatar, you should also put that in there. Ask it, where does this avatar consume, or where are they most likely to consume information about real estate at the avatar level? That way it's giving you, of course you can do it where Nate's saying like afterwards, but that's one of those things we put in the ideal client as well. Avatar is like, where do they hang out?
Yep. So that's one of those really heavy things. And if they hang out in multiple places, which place should you be focusing on? Another way you can leverage this in real life, where do they hang out in real life? So if there are coffee shops in your area and you're going after listings, for example, once you have an avatar that you say, oh, this avatar is the most likely person to be downsizing in Pompano because they're an empty nester and they're moving closer to the beach, then what are the top 3 coffee shops where this avatar might be hanging out? So you may need to shift your schedule a little bit. So instead of grabbing coffee at that Starbucks closest to your house, you drive an extra couple miles and go to that locally owned coffee house when you get your coffee. Like there are ways to leverage AI that are beyond just the brick and mortar. I'm going to run some ads and say these things. There are ways to make sure that it can take information and synthesize those large amounts of information to give you actionable steps to be able to do in the real world, going to Eventbrite, going to meetups, going to, these places online to find where that avatar hangs out. So not only is it allowing you to compress time and analyze stuff to be able to get your messaging right on specific platforms to specific avatars, but once you know that messaging, now you can use that messaging in real life. You can use that messaging to people that you meet at coffee shops. You can use that messaging to people that you meet at church. You can use that messaging for people that you meet at car washes or wherever. You can use that messaging on postcards if you're doing mailings. You can use that messaging on letters if you're farming a specific area. So making sure that as you're getting this information from AI, you're using the power of AI to cover all this stuff, to do the research for you. It's not doing the hard work for you. It's doing the massive work, the compression, the research, all that other stuff, but you are still you. And you still have to use your 5, 10, 15, 20 years, however long you've been around. You have to use your experience and your market familiarity to add the nuance to whatever's happening there, because the AI is just going to give you the data. It's just going to give you the numbers. It's just going to tell you what's there. It's going to sound really good because it's
Remember
AI
this
and it was
piece
designed
here.
to sound really good.
Yeah, remember this. AI has no soul. It's your job to inject your soul into what AI gives you to make it Pat's or Kassanya's or Joya's or Nate's or Chris's. That you guys got to make it your own. Don't just take it, copy and paste it and go. And Nate mentioned coffee shops a couple of times. And one of the things, as he mentioned, finding out like what coffee shops they hang out at, if you combine that with episode 2 of the Iconic Agent podcast, we have a whole coffee shop / bar strategy in there that once you have that information, you can go do that strategy and get clients in that area. That's totally not what we were talking about here, but I would do you a disservice if I didn't tell you about that, to go watch that episode. It's probably like 15 minutes, but combining offline and online would be huge. And then just the last thing we'll say before we run out of here is, as he mentioned, it's good to get research and ideas. Batching your processes and batching your content. So don't just batch recording. Okay, this is the day of recording. Batch everything. And this is something I had to learn. Should have been obvious, but I learned this when I'm batching. So I'll batch and I'm getting ready to go to the office when I leave here to do this. Ideas. Okay, so I'm spending a whole hour just going through ideas for reels based on what? My ideal client avatar, and looking through and seeing what makes sense. And I'm treat the AI like it's a person. If you had your ideal client sitting in front of you, what would you ask them? Have a conversation with it like you would have a conversation. Don't make it weird. Like, I don't know what to type. Treat it like it's a person, because once you have your ideal client into your AI, just ask it questions. There is no wrong way to do this. You're going to notice the more, if you go back to like when you were a kid, you were curious. If you have kids, grandkids, young kids, they're really curious. Be curious. Ask questions. Ask dumb questions just to see what happens. But ask questions and use like ideation, batch ideation sessions. So all of your energy goes in that. And then batch deep research and then pulling all together. And of course, you want to batch your content days if you don't have time to sit there every day and do content, which if you're looking at these agents out there, influencers, whatever online, they're not all sitting down every day and doing content. They take a day, a period of time. Like if you watch Nate's channel, you watch my channel, we sit down and structure that during a chunk of time. So we give you some game here, so take notes. Blazers, whatever, locations, make it real simple. 2-3 hour blocks. That gives you content for however long. So those are some quick nuggets, and that is the general structure for how you should be leveraging AI to sell more in general, but sell more new construction. Now, if this is your first time here, you can get this archive resource. We have some great resources, things we talked about. There'll be a whole mind map structure and an infographic for this episode and previous episodes over at theiconic.com/tune-up. That's not iconic agent, it's theiconic.com/tune-up. And then once again, back to the 6-week new construction buyer traction accelerator waiting list. So this is a free 5-week training that you're going to get while we're waiting for applications to open for the accelerator. So the accelerator, high level, it's soup to nuts. Everything that has helped us help you guys get to over $500 million in new construction sales since 2020. We go through how to find new construction, where to find it, how to build out all the technical aspects behind it, set up your landing pages, set up your ads. You have 6 weeks access to Nate and myself, 2.5 hours a week. We'll be meeting, Q&A, If you have a question, you're stuck, we'll work with it. So it's hands-on accountability. This is application only. If you are a broke agent, if you're not willing to commit to the time to leverage this, it's ideally for producing agents and agents that really want to just gain market share. We do have an application process. So Nate and I will review your application. It is a video application. So you will answer the questions through video. We'll go through that. We'll have a conversation. And if we feel it's a good fit, we will extend an offer to you. And you're welcome to join. Or if you pass up on it, you're still getting, regardless of whether you decide to apply or not, you're still going to get this 5-week free training that gives you in-depth information and actionable. This isn't just fluff. This is like we gave you today. These are things you can take action on right now. That is something that you can start benefiting from now. So we're kind of tuning it up so that you can start getting results. But if you need hand holding, you need help, you want guidance, you need accountability, and you want to go to the iconicagent.com/waiting list. This is a hybrid of things that we've done before, so you can't get stuck. If you're not technical, there's no excuse because we're going to be there to help you. Applications open next week. It'll be open for 2 weeks. The first training will start the second week of February, the first official 6-week training. So we're going to start, I think it's February 9th. I believe it's February 9th. But Nate and I will give bonus trainings throughout the week. There will be live coaching, very similar to this. We'll be on Zoom, answer questions. This is virtual for the entire 6 weeks. You'll get replays to everything that we do, hands-on, over the shoulder. So head on over to the iconicagent.com/waiting list. If you have any questions on that, just post them in the group. If you have any questions about this here, go post it in the free group. If you're in the insider, post questions in there. That is why we have the groups for you guys to ask questions, and we will see you guys next week, same time. Have an amazing